Greetings to my 0 viewers and 0 subscribers. So, I tried to make some videos yesterday while I was at work, in the box office at the theater where I work for my side job, but there was so much, loud ambient noise in the background, and, I was on register, so I couldn't, hold the phone up to my face, so, I posted them, but then I ended up deleting them. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. I ramble a lot. So, the topic of the video that I wanted to make today is about people who try to tell their friends, or even people who aren't their friends that they just know in passing, which is even worse, to not take, their medication. Now, I understand and I respect the power of natural medicine, you know? People got around and were able to function somehow with these conditions and disorders long before the pharmaceutical industry created these complex mixtures of chemicals that make up our Lexapros and risperidones and trazodones and all that shit. So, yeah, this past weekend I was around this guy at a get-together at my friend's house, and I'm not, directly friends with this person, but he's good friends with someone that I'm good friends with, and our paths sometimes cross at this friend's house. So, every time I encounter this person, they go on about how they had issues, and then they just took CBD oil, and all of a sudden, all of the problems were fine and great, and that I should do the same, and what they did to fix their depression is going to fix my bipolar disorder. Because in this person's head, it's all the same, and it's a matter of personal strength and will, and not a chemical balance in the brain that is somehow out of my control. Now, every time I hear this argument, I get really, really angry. I can't express it to this person, because they're good friends with my friend, and, I'm not trying to cause any drama there, you know. But, first of all, this person doesn't know me well enough to know, the extent of my issues. Granted, I do talk about my disorder a lot, maybe more than I should. So he's heard a lot of the details, but certainly not enough to, diagnose me on a professional level. But he continues to do this, it's no problem. And I love weed. And even if weed didn't have the psychoactive component, I enjoy its therapeutic attributes. I respect all of the wonderful things that can be done with hemp and derivatives of marijuana, and I think there are a lot of merits to CBD oil. That's not even what I meant, when I criticized this person for saying that to me. But yeah, I don't think that weed is going to fix bipolar disorder. In fact, every time I go to a therapist, even when I thought I just had depression, they constantly were telling me to, not smoke weed, and that there were all these studies that said that it had all of these horrible consequences. And while I don't believe that, I don't really believe in, the opposite spectrum entirely. I mean, I haven't taken CBD oil, and perhaps, there are things in it that are in regular weed that are more concentrated or activated in a different way when they're in CBD oil form, but, I smoke plenty of weed. I have for a long time. I love it. I do think that it, allowed me to walk through some mental doors that maybe I wouldn't have if I had never experienced being stoned. I don't blame it for my problems. I just think that it might have helped me along to a destination sooner. Maybe it helped. I don't know, but like my symptoms really got way worse when I started smoking marijuana in high school. And granted, I only did that because I started feeling, a bit more depressed than usual, and I was trying to impress somebody too. But yeah, like I don't know one way or the other, but like I certainly know what has happened when I haven't taken my medication. Um, I certainly know what happened when I wasn't taking the correct medication. Like I almost died. That's not an exaggeration. Like I almost died. I nearly jumped off of buildings and jumped into rivers and physically harmed myself by cutting myself and other means. Like I'm 32. I've been dealing with symptoms to the extent that I knew that it was some kind of disorder, even though I didn't know it was bipolar at first. I've been dealing with that since I was 17, 16. I've been aware enough of my brain and what was going on to take myself to treatment without anybody even suggesting it to me, you know? Like, this is not my first rodeo. This is not my first rodeo, and I have done this long enough that while I know I'm not at the perfect point, because I think that my medication regimen could be improved, and maybe I should be on entirely different medication. But compared to like how I was and how things were, like say 6 years ago, fuck that. I am never, ever going off of medication. As long as I have insurance and as long as I can get it covered, I will be popping those pills. Hopefully, they're not like risperidone or trazodone or Seroquel or some other like medication that is secretly the devil. But like, even though I'm not an expert at loving myself, I care enough about myself to never do that again. Um, I've been on and off of medication, in and out of therapy for years and years and years, and I think I have enough evidence to know that CBD oil and stuff like that is not going to keep me off of a ledge or from being so anxious that I'm so tense that I physically am harming myself from tensing so much. I'm never doing that again. And I've put that across to this person who made that suggestion to me over the weekend like several times. And I don't know if they just don't like remember it because like I'm not a prominent person in their life. They see me in passing, and this is just I guess what comes up in their mind because I talk about bipolar a lot. But like if that's not the case, and this person has heard me say I can't do that, and this is why I can't do that, and this is what happens when I don't take these pills, and I've tried not taking medication several times in my life, and I'm sure this is where I want to be. Like, this person has no respect for that whatsoever. Like, it reminds me of other people I've had in my life who, like, actually were my close friends, who, even though they saw me suffering and saw me going in and out of the hospital and hurting myself, kept trying to tell me that there was no such thing as mental illness and no such thing as bipolar, and it was all in my head, and it was all a matter of my lack of self-will and discipline. Like, that pisses me off. Like, that's terrible, and we disagree, and all of that, but, like, it, is not an antipsychotic. In fact, I think it has hallucinogenic properties, right? They say that's technically right. I've been stoned so long and for so much of my life, I can't like tell the difference. But I think it is. It's psychoactive at least. So my point is of this video, which I hope hasn't gone on too long because I'm trying to do shorter videos, is like stop telling your friends, especially people who like aren't your friends that you aren't intimately like aware of, their lives. Stop telling people not to take medication. And I'm not saying that if you have a problem or someone has said or diagnosed you with something and you don't believe that that's you, or you don't believe that it requires medication, then that's like a personal choice. But like people who shame people who elect to seek um, treatment through the psychiatric realm and through medication and stuff. Um, yeah, like those people might as well be telling me to just suck it up and deal with it and stop being such a wuss or something. And I feel like that's what's being said to me. Um, and I know that that's happening to other people. So yeah, I want to say I empathize with those people and like implore people, especially if it's not a situation they're intimately aware of, to like stop. I love New Age medicine, but stop telling people to not take their medication because or shaming them because you might as well be telling them to take a revolver, pop in a bullet, spin the chamber, put it to their head, and pull the trigger 3 or 4 times. Like it might end up really bad, and you might end up like feeling really guilty because you helped somebody to some ultimate end that they could have avoided if they just took the advice of their doctor and the therapist and took their medication. So, opinions are nice and stuff. I'm not saying don't like talk openly and freely, and I promote the sharing and wealth of ideas, but I guess I really just mean like don't shame people about it. You might as well just be shaming me for having a mental health issue to begin with. So, yeah, that's all. I hope you guys are having a great day. Bye.